Hello. Well, it's blinking cold to say the least, but it's coming up to Valentine's Day, so I think it'd be a nice thing to do a reading. And since it hasn't started raining yet, I thought it would be good to do this reading outside in the garden. We are going to use, let me find them. We're going to use this deck, Tarot in Wonderland. One of our favourites here on the channel, actually. People seem to love this, and I love it. It's very close to the sort of enchanted stories of Alice in Wonderland. And when we're looking at affairs of the heart, and it's very nearly Valentine's Day, it is all about sort of enchantment, isn't it? That seems to be how it works. So in a second we'll dive into this reading. But first, I just want to talk a little bit about manifestation, because that's something that comes into love as well. It's one of the many things that psychics say and psychics talk about. And it's a really important thing, not just in matters of love and the heart, but in absolutely everything. Because if we're going to get the most out of our life, I suppose that's what it's all about. If we're going to get the most out of our life, then we need to actually believe that good things can happen, and that, actually believe that good things are coming. If we lose sight of that, it's just not so good. Now, there are all kinds of cosmic reasons for that, and it's a very true thing to say that we are always attracting our next experience. The rest of our life is something that we are attracting at this very moment, and that works on a heavenly level. It works on all kinds of spiritual and cosmic levels, but just think of it in an absolutely practical way, if you will, friends. It's very simply the case that if you don't believe anything good can happen, it's very unlikely that it actually will, because you're going to become someone who's kind of, maybe stuck in their ways. Maybe that's not the best way to put it, but you're going to feel and seem to other people, that's the main thing, you're going to seem to other people like you're kind of stuck, your energy's stuck, you're not going anywhere, and so why would they give any time to anything that's going to involve change coming into your life? It's not going to help those people. And this is very important when you're applying for any kind of job. It's actually very important also in doing your job and making things like that, real. And if you're actually working and you want to go a bit further, make a bit more money, do better at what you're doing. Again, that's just not going to happen if you're convinced that nothing good is ever going to happen. And there are lots of reasons why people feel like that. And there's one of those in particular that I think I've got a bit of a handle on here. That I'd like to share this with you. And I was talking to a lady in the comments about this over the last couple of days. It's in the comments under one of my last videos, I think the last video or the one before that. And she's just, she's at an age where she can't really see anything particularly new or interesting happening. And it's all relative, she is in her 70s, and it just made me think of something that happened to me when I was in my 20s. I had a massive stroke. It wiped out one side of my brain, and it did quite a lot of damage, physical damage, to my heart as well. And most people who have a stroke like the one I had don't actually live all that long. The hospitals and the doctors and people were very careful not to tell me that, but I kind of worked it out. The information is out there. And when I made it to the age of 30, I was pretty pleased. I mean, that's kind of 4 years more than I thought I had at one point. But even then, I never thought I'd make it to where I am now. I'm 57 now. And the thing about it is, at age 36 I met a lady and had actually my second child. She came with my first child, who was already 3 years old, and then we had one together. And so that was my kind of youngest child, if you will. And she is now coming up to 21. She's going to be 21 in May, which is just a lovely time to be born, May, when it's not just that spring is around, it's kind of moved on past spring, and everything in nature is coming to life, so very positive time. And I just, I remember that was actually, when she was born, was 11 years after I'd had this stroke. And I remember saying to one of the nurses on the maternity ward, would you believe 11 years ago, almost to the day, I was in the ward downstairs you know, fighting for my life with his stroke, and now here I am right at the beginning of a new chapter. And it was tinged with sadness a bit for me, because I didn't know if I'd actually get to see my daughter grow up. But as time's gone on, I've just stopped thinking about the fact that, you know, life is going to end one day. It's going to end for all of us one day. But we never know when. And the point is, we might as well have, you know, as much fun as possible, try and attract in new experiences and really, really live. That's the difference between having a life and an existence. And it's one of the brilliant things that having a new relationship can do for any of us. And for those of us who are in a relationship already, it's great to look to the future and actually work together at creating that happy ever after, whatever that's going to be. Nothing ever stands still, you know. And so whether you're looking for new love at this Valentine's time, or you're looking to kind of reinvigorate a love that's been going for a long time, maybe rekindle a lost love, I know a lot of people are interested in that at the moment as well, then the thing to do is look forward, look ahead, and keep believing that something good can happen, because it really can. You know, there's absolutely no stopping the flow of what the universe can bring to you. There really isn't. One of the most regular questions that I guess get asked when I do the live readings is, will so-and-so come back to me? You know, will this relationship become a thing again? Will it actually keep going? And there is absolutely always hope. I don't think I've ever kind of consulted the cards or used the pendulum and found that a thing was absolutely hopeless. Sometimes it's over, you know, and you have to accept that it's over. And in order to move on to the next thing, you can't really do that moving on unless you accept that what's been going on has come to an end. You can't get on to the next chapter of life if you don't close the door on this one. That's a super important thing, and it can be very, very hard to do, particularly when life was good at some point before, and then the relationship ended or went wrong in some way, and then it seemed kind of life was no good after that. Life is always good. Life always keeps on going. And so you might as well try to love your way through life. I mean, love is the thing that's given to us to make life a bearable thing, if you ask me. That's my opinion, and it's my opinion that's based on experience, you know. That's how I've found it is. Anyway, I've had a pretty good shuffle here, friends. So in a second we will do a reading. Just before I do, if you'd like to buy me or buy the channel a coffee, please go to ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings, all one word, no apostrophe. And that's complicated, isn't it? But there's a link you can click on down below in the description under this video. So do go and check that out. There's also kind of pictures of my life going on, and the cats and the chickens and everything that goes on. Soon there'll be garden pictures, because out here the garden is slowly going to be coming to life. It's the coldest week of the year at the moment, according to the weather forecast, but that new life is coming. And I wouldn't be too happy if everything wasn't frozen at the moment, actually, because that would mean that all the kind of bugs and the diseases and the stuff that's in the soil wouldn't be getting killed off, so I wouldn't do much good with it next year. And I do like to grow my own food. So anyway, yeah, do check out the coffee page. Do hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, friends. It really helps me and the channel, and it helps the whole kind of YouTube psychic spiritual movement by showing the algorithm that there are people wanting to take part in it, people wanting to watch the stuff, people enjoying the stuff. And that will really help the algorithm to go in every psychic person's favour. Yours, mine, all the other YouTubers who do this kind of thing. It'll help us all, so that's great. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. It's always good to share the journey. Anyway, on that note, I'm just going to kind of shut the camera off and start it again, because it seems to cut itself off every now and again. So I'll switch it off and back on again, and then we'll do some cards from Tarot in Wonderland. Okay, right, here we go then. I've been shuffling like mad all the way through what I was saying. The sun's in my eyes, by the way, so I hope I'm not winking at you too much. That is not the idea at all. And let's do a 5-card spread, just a quick 5-card spread. And this basically is for you. If you're drawn to it, you can pick a card, as the title says, or you can pick all 5. It's entirely up to you, friends. If you pick all 5, that way we're sort of looking at a journey. We're looking at, you know, how things are going to go, generally speaking. But there is no harm at all in picking one card. You could pick card 1, card 2, 1, 2 and 5, 1, 2 and 3, any, you know, 2, 3, 4 of them, whatever you want to do. This is where you guys get to be your own psychic, because that's how I roll. And that even applies actually to the live videos in a lot of ways, because then, you know, I do actually kind of give advice. I do use the pendulum. I do find answers on the live videos, and if you haven't seen one of the lives yet, please do look in. I'm trying to do 2 or 3 of those a week. Next one is going to be at the weekend sometime, but if you subscribe, you'll get to know when it is, you know, and that way you'll get a notification and you'll be able to join in the psychic chat, get a reading for yourself, whatever. But even then, it's people's own psychic sense that draws them to actually come into the reading session at whatever time they come into it. It prompts them to ask whatever the question is. And I work with spirit guides, and my guides will kind of look at your question, and they draw me. I always have to look at what's been typed, even if it's just a few letters and an emoji. Something about looking at that brings about a connection. So anyway, subscribe. That really deepens the psychic connection too, and we will go from then. So did you choose card number 1, friends? Did you in fact choose this one, which is card number 1? It is number 11 in the Major Arcana, and it's the Justice card. Now, when we think about justice these days, it has a very similar meaning to judgment, but really it's something different. Judgment, these are old expressions that go right back to medieval times. It's a 15th century thing. The tarot goes back all the way there. So in this sense, justice is all about balance, and I suppose justice is about balance anyway, because wherever there are courts of law, there's that picture of I can't remember who it is, but she's always a liberty, isn't it? And she's always kind of holding up a pair of scales and holding things in the balance. Now this is a great relationship card, actually, in lots of ways, because the nature of relationships is there's always some up and down, and there's always some forgiveness that needs to be done. Very often that's actually about forgiving ourselves, you know, because particularly if we lack confidence, and you know that does happen in a relationship, because when the love is very, very strong, you can't help kind of being concerned that maybe you feel you're not up to it, or maybe you feel you've done something to upset the other person, and you usually find that, you know, it's not really as bad as you think it is. But sometimes someone needs to apologize. And what the Justice card is really talking about when it comes up, and the overall meaning of it is, you know, judge other people the way you would like to be judged yourself. You coming up, Puss? I'm going to judge my cat here by inviting her up. Don't know if you can see her yet. Look at the camera. Look, it's Tinkerbell. Here she is. Okay. And here's a classic example of how things can so easily be misunderstood. I live with my cats. I'd say they're my sort of primary relationship now my kids have left home. God help me. Marcy's around somewhere. She's probably up a tree at the moment or something. Now Tinkerbell here, she likes to hide under the bed at night, and she stays there till about 3 AM, and then she makes a fuss at 3 AM wanting to be fed, and I can't stop this happening, so I shut her out of the room after it gets dark at night. That's the only way, and then she sleeps somewhere else, which is great, sort of suits everybody. But she's allowed in my room during the day, and she sort of doesn't really come in there much at the moment because I've been shutting her out at night, because she doesn't actually understand the justice, as it were, the balance that I'm trying to bring into things, which is really just that you've got to let Dad get some sleep sometime, you know. So because she's a cat and she doesn't understand that, I tried to make it kind of just make it up to her in some way, so she knows I still love her, basically, and we still have this love between us, which is really good. And it's all about balance. It's going to be different, whoever or whatever this actually is affecting. But if you picked card number 1, look for an imbalance somewhere, friends. I'm not asking you to look for trouble. That never does any good. But there's an imbalance somewhere that needs putting right. And maybe someone needs to apologise to you. But then, you know, you need to actually accept that apology at face value and be willing to put it behind you and move on if things are going to be really good. On the other hand, if you owe someone an apology, then I guess you know that, really, and the thing to do is make that apology as genuinely as you can. I don't actually know if you can see this card in the screen, so I'm going to bring it up a bit closer there. Okay, move it round a bit. But there we go. It's the King and Queen of Hearts from the Alice in Wonderland story, and it says, "By the Queen, a proclamation. Now know ye," in this old English language, "that we are graciously extending our grace and mercy to grant our free royal pardon. All sentences are to be commuted by Her Majesty's command." So there you go, commute the sentence, leave the past in the past and move on, move forwards. You know, be as genuine as you possibly can. Sometimes, you know, stuff's in the past, it's not been good, but you've just got to let it go. It's the only show in town. Excuse me, it's the only show in town. It really is. That's the Justice card. So what then is going to be card number 2? It's this one. Did you pick card number 2, friends? If you picked all 5, it's a different kettle of fish. But if you pick card number 2, it's this one. And it's actually, goodness me, it's number 20 from the Major Arcana. So we're in the Major Arcana again. And this one is Judgment. Right, I hadn't actually seen it a minute ago when I started talking about the difference between justice and judgment. But there's the divine orchestration of things, the universal interconnectedness of all things, you might say. And what we've got here is White Rabbit blowing the trumpet to awaken people. And what we've got here is it really is an awakening, you know. It's bringing things back to life. Now this could mean a new start, which could be a new start to an old relationship coming back in a new way, or it could be a new person coming in. That's 2 different ways of looking at this. But the bottom line is, this is actually ready to happen, you know. There's no point hanging about. Although it's all about judgment, it's also a clarion call to actually get your boots on and start doing things and start making a difference that way. That really is where it's at. And this clarion call is coming from up above the clouds, with a very improbable rabbit character actually making the call here. So it could be quite an improbable situation, could even be a difficult situation actually, but it's pointing the way forwards. And this really means kind of judge others the way you would want to be judged yourself, which also comes into the Justice card, actually. And, you know, in terms of judgment, think about the situation we're in the world at the moment. Very, very difficult times. Very, you know, hard times everywhere you look. People are losing work all over the place. Some of us are actually finding work on the internet, but it's, you know, for those people, it's a very new way of working. But, if we can leave the past in the past, we actually can make a difference. So 2 cards there, all about leaving the past where it belongs, which is in the past. The past is old news. You've got to remember stuff as you go forward, because the past is also learning. But keep the lessons, keep the love from the past. The rest of it's old news. Move on, make new things happen. That's the way to go. The sun's going behind a cloud now. I hope you can still see me. Did you pick, my friends, card number 3? Is this the one you picked? If you did, it is the Ace of Cups. In fact, it's the Ace of Cups whether you picked it or not. This is card number 3, and it's the heart of the matter. So it's going to relate to all the other cards we've pulled. Now, even if you just only pulled this one, take heed of the meaning of it deeply. You know, it's an important one, because wherever we get the alchemy, we've got basically wherever we get the aces, we've got basically the alchemy. I put the cart before the horse there. And in some ways the cart is before the horse in this card, because in the foreground we've got this chalice. being held out, which symbolises something spiritual, something cosmic coming into life and coming into play, and something new as well. And then in the middle we've got a cup of tea, or is it a cup of coffee? Entirely up to you. And if you'd like to buy me a cup of tea, and it will be because I don't drink coffee, but go over to my coffee page where your coffee money will be transmuted into tea money, ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings, all one word, no apostrophe. Check out the pictures of around here and all the great sort of rural abundance in which I'm so blessed to live, and maybe buy the channel a coffee or a tea if you like. I digress. We've got this cup of tea in the middle here, and then in the background there's a waterfall. Now, waterfall is very spiritual, certainly. It's pouring down from above, so it's showing that whatever you're trying to do, whatever good comes of it, is partly going to be manifestation. It's sort of as above, so below. It's energy coming down from the highest level and pouring in. But it's also a waterfall, and water in lots and lots of ways. Water is life. There's a flow of water going on. It's a flow of energy. And if you get too hung up on the past, as we were talking about in the last two cards, Justice and Judgment, if we get too hung up on the past, it blocks the energy, you know. It's actually easy to hoard up energy, I suppose. You know, if it feels good now, try and hang on to that good feeling. Try and not let things change. And that is a great pity, because if you let things change, more good things are going to come in. Just like the flow of water, life has to have a flow. And that's how to really spark up the alchemy of the Ace of Cups here. The cups are all about our longings, our desires, the things we want, the things we feel we need, the things the heart knows we need, the things the higher self knows we need. Be guided by that heart. Be guided by that higher self. It's often very useful to be guarded as well, but that's not really the essence of what love is all about. You've got to kind of let your love flow, like the song by the Bellamy Brothers suggests. Let your love flow like a mountain stream. And there is a mountain stream right in the back of this Ace of Cups card here. Okay, that's card number 3. That's the heart of the matter. So whichever card you pick, friends, let it flow. Let that love flow. But now the question is, did you pick card number 4, which is this one? What can it be? I already know, but I'm going to turn it round and show you. It's the 2 of Pentacles, and we can see the Mad Hatter here, and he's really having a mad dance because he's trying desperately to balance and to juggle the 2 Pentacles, and juggling things and balancing them happens at the same time. It's no way of balancing things to just hang on to things and keep them still and keep them steady. Long time ago I was going to be a priest, and when I was in college to do that, there were guys who were married and had children already who were coming into the priesthood, and we would have this service every Sunday where everyone had to be on their best behaviour, and the guys with children would stand with their hands on their shoulders, not letting them move because they were sure the children would do something bad. And I always thought that was a shame, you know. Bring children to church, it should be a happy thing. As much as humanly possible, and it's no bad thing letting them run around a bit in church either, I think. And all the old people who really knew their stuff and had been going to church for as long as they lived, really, and were elderly, were quite happy to see children running about. But people who wanted to make a good impression on the priest or the bishop or whoever was there taking the service would hang on to their children rigidly. So actually let it flow. That is what the Hatter is doing here with the 2 Pentacles. And we can see he's not actually going to lose control. He hasn't lost control yet, and he's not going to lose control, because although the Pentacles are flying around, they're close to his hand. He's going to be able to grab them before they fall. So it's Pentacles. It's a symbol of abundance, most certainly. And this isn't really a reading about money, but, you know, if you pick this card and that's on your mind, you can read into that whatever you will. Like I keep saying, you've got to be your own psychic with this. This is what it's all about. We've all got those psychic senses. We've all got to use them, friends. Otherwise they become stagnant. So keep using those psychic senses. So the bottom line is, it's a juggling competition. It's, well, not a competition, it's a game, I suppose, as much as anything. And whatever it is you're trying to juggle, you're going to be able to handle it. You're going to be able to bring it into balance, and it's all coming together here in the most positive way imaginable, because the pentacles have the 5 points, and those 5 points represent earth, air, fire and water, the 4 elements coming together with the 5th element, which is at the top, which is the influence of the divine, God, the angels, your higher self, whichever way you want to see it. But it's all coming together there in the 2 of Pentacles. It's an early card in the Pentacles journey, you know, so there is still a long way to go, but it's looking pretty good. You just got to keep on juggling, and, you know, good things will ensue in the end. It's bound to happen. So that brings us to... Oh, she's over there making a rattling noise. I keep hoping my other cat's going to run up the tree, because she likes running up trees, you know. I think this one... Oh, look, she's run away. The other one's run away. There we go. Right, never mind cats. Well, there's a cat in this next card, actually. Can you guess what it is? This is card number 5. Did you pick card number 5? If you did, there's a great kind of harmonic convergence of spiritual stuff happening in this card, because it's card number 5, and it's number 5 from the major arcana. It's the Hierophant, the Hierophant, whichever way you want to say it, and that is represented by the grinning Cheshire Cat from the Alice books in this deck. And really, the Cheshire Cat represents not just the Hierophant, but Alice's higher self. And this card is all about consulting your higher self as much as anything. That's going to tell you much more than I can tell you. It's going to tell you much more than any priest can tell you. And it's actually going to not so much tell you more than life itself can tell you, but it's going to draw in, it's going to draw your attention to all the wisdom you've gathered in life. And it's then going to draw that wisdom into your actions, into whatever you're going to do going forward as the future unfolds. And as we're really kind of focused on relationships here, it being St. Valentine's Day 2021 very, very shortly, then it's kind of being wise, using all the wisdom you've got. Never mind looking for new wisdom. You've got plenty of wisdom of your own. Bring that to bear on the situation. Now, if you're looking for new love, this is a very, very difficult time for it, and without wanting to be too kind of ooey-gooey about it, let's face it, this is the last time on earth that you want to be exchanging bodily fluids with anyone you don't normally exchange bodily fluids with. Okay, I hope I haven't offended anybody there, but that does tend to be what happens along the line of human relationships. So be wise about it, okay? This might not be the best time to fire a new thing up. In a physical sense, in a sort of real world sense, but people are meeting each other all the time online. There's a great coming together of people on the internet, which is now more valuable to the human condition than it's ever been before. So it's wise to make the most of that, and it's wise to just, you know, make the most that you can out of a situation, and actually allow yourself to enjoy things, even though maybe we can't go out on dates to a restaurant, to a meal, to somewhere to dance, to somewhere to drink. We can't go to those places at the moment, but the time will come, friends. It really will. This has gone on much longer than anybody thought it would, but, you know, things are happening for the best all the time, and now it's been just about a year really since it all blew up, and people are coming up with coping strategies and strategies to bring us out the other end of it. So don't feel you've got to kind of give up hope on anything like new love coming into your life. There's no reason at all why that would have to be the case. The flow of life is continuing. Even in these crazy times, the flow of life is continuing. The flow of love is still there. The love is still abundant. That's how it works. And the times we're in is a bit like throwing a cloth over a crystal ball. One of my favourite analogies in the last couple of weeks that keeps on coming up. When you put a cloth over a crystal ball, it's your affirmation that you want to allow the energy to build up. And so that when you actually take the cloth off, it's that much stronger. And that's a lot like what's happening to the human race with the situation that we're going through in the world at the moment. So there you go, friends. 5 tarot cards, a 5-card reading for Valentine's Day 2021. Happy Valentine's. Whoa, and the sun's really gone in now. I can almost see the camera now. So much has the sun gone in. Well, thank you very much indeed for watching, friends. I'll just give it out again. ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings, all one word, no apostrophe. There's a link to it down there, along with links to other good things, my Facebook, my Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, all those links down there. So follow me on there and I'll follow you back on there, and we'll kind of have the whole thing working between us, which is always great, always good energy. And my email address is down there too, AND@358. Oh, I've been using so many different emails going on today. I've been trying to get money off my shopping with one email and log into something with another email. I must have 10 email addresses. The one to get me on is 35AND83@gmail.com. That is 35AND83@gmail.com. Again, the link is down there to it. You can click on that, send me an email. We'll share the journey somehow. And if you want to book a private reading, that's the way to do it. Okay, small cost involved, I'm afraid. If you want a very quickie free reading, and they're getting quicker and quicker at the moment, come on to the live. Okay, I'm hoping to do 2 lives this weekend. I've got a plan to do one on Friday. I've got a plan to do another one on Sunday. I'm releasing this video on Thursday. It's Wednesday right now, and I'm hoping to do a live session tonight. But it is actually growing. I'm grateful and delighted that it's growing. This is what I've wanted for a long time, actually. And if you come onto the live, I can pull a card specifically for you, or I can use the pendulum to answer a question specifically for you with our guides working together. So do check the lives out. If you've already seen the lives, you'll know it's really quite magical. More magical than I ever dreamed it would be, actually. So look out for those live videos, friends. Meanwhile, thank you very much for watching. Have a fantastic time ahead. Do hit the subscribe button for notifications of the lives and all the videos. There are more readings coming all the time. In the meantime, I'll say it again, happy Valentine's Day. Look after yourselves. Love, light, blessings and peace.